Yeah, please don't sit there.
Oh, please don't sit there either.
Hello, my name is Brandee, and welcome to my... Hi, everybody. My sessions are good?
Hey.
Seem pretty good. Great. First of all, who of you has ever made a split-second decision that you didn't think about, but it worked? Whatever you did, it worked.
Every day of my life.
Great! We're done. Sick. I'm done.
Thank you.
You're welcome. No. Seriously, this is not new. None of this is new. You're doing it already. I am known for being an intuitive instructor, and what does that even mean? Like, why did you come to this one for me? Because I know this was a desired session. So, Peyton, why this? Why me?
I have heard that you're a really, really amazing coach, and I want to learn everything I can from you.
Amazing coach. What else? Other reasons? Cordelia?
Because you cultivate compassion within your students.
Cool. Oh, that's nice. Jonathan?
Your description mentions some very interesting things about what's communicated unintentionally and how we can take control of that. And I think that's really interesting.
Cool. I'm glad you picked up on that. And that's exactly what we're doing here. This is all about, well, first of all, I'm not an academic. I don't have research background. I have done research for things, but I'm not going to be citing things. I will, when I present this on the app when it's complete, there'll be some reading materials and some things where I'm pulling stuff, but none of this is new, okay? So if you're asking, like, okay, where's the research and this and that, it's out there. It is there. It's there. But that's not what's going to be here, because I'm going to present the way that it's going to be. So intuitive instruction. Let's start with our old definition. This is straight from the dictionary on Google. Intuition is the ability to understand something immediately without the need for conscious reasoning. Also, a thing that one knows or considers likely from instinctive feeling rather than conscious reasoning. Okay, that's why I asked you the question, like, do you do this? Yes, you all do this. Before I do the next slide, I want you to get ready to notice things. Okay, I want you to start noticing things as soon as it comes up. I want you to notice as many things as you can. Okay, and what that means, I'll go into it more later. Because things, like, what are these things that we're noticing? Just start noticing things and start keeping track of that, okay? Still noticing things. Don't look at me. Notice things here. This one. Okay. Intuition is a very powerful thing. More powerful than intellect. Steve Jobs, may he rest in power. I'm using his stuff right now. All of this stuff I'm using, actually. Okay, what do we notice about Steve? What do we notice with this here?
He's married.
He's married. You see a wedding ring. Great. Yeah, shiny. What else? He looks cocky. Okay, so you're seeing his facial features and his what is about him that looks cocky? How do you know that? Like, what is it that
his mannerisms, his eyes squinting at you, the way that he's looking to the side and his fingers together, his like body language all says that like come on, I'm not that smart, but I do awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
That's
What else?
Fine with his text.
It looks like a sincere gaze, like it is when you have developed either through experience or some other kind of practice in life the ability to have that.
But how can you tell that? How do you know that? What is that energy?
Well, I think sometimes it depends on the energy that's inside of you as well. So I see an intent gaze of an understanding.
Does anyone else see that? An intent gaze of understanding? No. What do you see, Sheep?
He looks a little bit evil.
I was going to say,
Evil.
Squid and a power triangle.
Oh, like.
you've got the evil mastermind thing going on.
Okay, we have some evil mastermind. We have some wise leader, sort of. What else?
He's pretending to be in repose.
Is he? Interesting. Okay.
It's like it's clear that he's
Shade
in a
of it?
photo shoot and he's just trying to look alive.
He probably did not say that as that photo was taken.
Probably not. No, I'm the one who put the words that he said on this particular photo. There are other Steve Jobs photos chose this same quote. I'm the one who chose this situation. And that's something to notice too. Anyone notice anything about the composition itself of what I'm presenting to you?
Is sitting in front of a window and maybe on a park bench.
If something's zoomed in, you're going to show us a full picture.
No, I won't be okay. I'm not showing you the full picture. Let's look at his wellness in this. Does he look well rested? Would you say, in general, he looks well rested?
He looks healthy, yes.
Pretty healthy?
What,
Okay.
really?
But I know you just. He looks healthy.
Does he look hydrated? Do you think he's been
Yes.
drinking water?
The skin looks amazing.
Does he look yeah, does he look well fed? Would you say?
True.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well fed.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Was the picture originally black and white?
Yes, this is how I got it.
Okay.
It was just like this. I didn't alter the photos at all. What do you think his energy level was at this photo when it was taken? Can you tell, or could you have an educated guess how much energy he had?
Calm, relaxed, potentially slightly tired.
He looks a little
Getting
thin.
tired.
Okay, and what are the signs that are helping you know that, or think that at least?
Deep set eyebrows, slight squint on the eyes, the light back underneath the eye, the
Light back.
angle with the smile, the asymmetric smile, cheekbones, and head position.
Disengaged posture.
Disengaged. And how long did we just do that for? How long do you think we were just doing that?
3 minutes.
2 minutes, 3 minutes. Okay, that was just 3 minutes. And here's the thing, how many of you do that level of observation and noticing things with every student that comes into your class, every time? The whole thing, like you see their things, you're like, oh, they were rested, are they hydrated, have they been eating, do I know if their mood is okay? You're doing that every single time with every single person's face, yes? Every? No? Okay, let's start now. Let's start now, because that's the most powerful thing you can start doing, is start noticing the people you are teaching, noticing anything about them. Now, we took time to interpret what we were noticing, giving some feeling. Okay, he looks evil, maybe some people are evil, some like wise. I'm more on the side of like, I see intelligence in his eyes. He looks like he's smart. He looks like he's got some almost like curious and kind of like fun-loving, devious, yeah? And all of these things that I'm noticing and that I'm seeing is from experiencing people's face and just getting practice and looking. I'm doing it right now with all of you. As soon as you were walking in, I'm like, hi, la, la, la. What I'm doing is I'm noticing things about you, okay? So that's where we're gonna start with intuition. You have to start collecting things. I know we like to just get to the point with stuff. I've sat through things and we don't like to sit too long. So I do want to just start with what is this intuition thing? How do we build it? And then we're going to start looking at how we're applying it in our classes, both teaching the students and of course teaching coaches. Because what is harder than teaching is teaching people to teach, yeah? So again, this is just the list that I created, the way that I was conceptualizing it. It might change over time. This is how we're going to go through it today. Let's start with meditation and mindfulness. And you'll notice my slides, yes, there's a lot of text. I know that's not the thing. Could someone please read this out loud? I'll do this part. Mindfulness and meditation. The rival of mindfulness is stress. Let's go.
Mindfulness is the art of noticing things and noticing what is noticed and why. The rival of mindfulness is stress. With greater physiological and psychological arousal, we notice what we notice less. At extreme levels, even to the point of excluding sensory inputs. This can and does clear the way for flow states, yet action is most reliable when stress can be controlled. Meditation is a crucial tool for regulating stress and creating an open platform for internal development.
Thank you, thank you. Now, mindfulness, let's start with mindfulness. We'll go into this here, but I want to do something first. We're going to go around, and you're going to all tell us your names so we all know what to call you. Also, question of the day. What is your favorite question of the day? Raise your hand if when you teach classes, you use the game or the activity of question of the day every time.
Question of the day.
The question of the day. You start your class, you're like, hi everybody, welcome back to the greatest class of all time. You know who I am. I know who you are, but we're gonna go around, tell us your name, what to call you, and tell me today, what is the superpower you would never want to have? Ever. Kids are like, I don't want to fly, I only fart to fly. Like, oh yeah, that would suck, that's terrible, I don't want to do that either. What power do you not want to have? I don't want to be invisible when I close my eyes only. Yeah, that sucks. Okay, that's the question of the day. And what that's doing is you're gathering information right away about the people. You're engaging them, you're getting something about them and their personality, and you're having a nice fun thing that you have to create a ritual and to start something. So we're gonna do it now, because I don't know if everyone here knows everyone else already. So if you don't have a question of the day, or you're not used to that, think of one right now. What would be a good, useful question of the day? What could you ask a group of people to collect information about them, or to set a certain tone for them to get to the purpose of your class, or whatever it is? It doesn't have to be a parkour class. It could be anything. I'm doing it right now, yeah? So starting here, what's your name?
Josh.
Josh, what's your favorite question of the day?
Pass.
No passing, Josh. What is a question you could ask a group of people? A group of kids. What's a simple question you
If
could
you
ask
turn
them?
into any animal, what would it be?
Great, I love that one. If you could turn into any animal, what would it be? Thank you, Josh. What's your name?
My name's Peyton. You can call me Coach Pizzle.
Coach Pizzle.
As my students do. My favorite question to ask is, if you weren't in parkour class, where would you like to be?
Oh, ooh, I like that one. Thank you, Peyton.
My name's Wes, and I like asking what you ate for breakfast.
Wes.
What
Yep,
did
that's a good one.
Recall what you did.
And you get like 4 people who all had oatmeal, and you're like, yeah, oatmeal crew.
Right.
You can like create a team just out of oatmeal. Amazing. Thanks, Wes.
My name is Galen. I like asking, in general, what people are good at, but for a class, it would be like, what's one really cool thing you did today?
Yeah, compliments. It's gonna be cool. Because what does that give him if he asks that question? What information is he gathering from people?
What they enjoy.
They enjoy.
Where they feel confident.
Feel confident. What makes them feel confident? What excites them? Yeah.
How their day was in general.
Yeah. Just like you get a nice baseline where they're at. Yeah. Thanks, Galen.
I'm Tara. Maybe like a would you rather question.
So, give us an example.
I don't know. Depending on the group, like kids can get really gross about it. Like I could say, would you rather be stuck, have to live in a suit where you have to smell your own farts, or I don't know.
Okay,
Have to walk around naked all day. Something.
Got it. Like, would you rather fight like 100 tiny like T-Rexes or one big one? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Tara.
My name's Patrick. I guess the question I would ask would be, what brings you to parkour class here today? Or why are you guys here today?
Okay. Yeah. Good old why. One of the most powerful things you can ask someone. Why? Thank you, Patrick.
Hi everyone, Cameron. I often ask my students like what they did different in their day that they usually do, and I often get a blank stare because a lot of people are just in routine. So if they just give me the same answer, like nothing, just did the same thing, I just always like encourage them and tell them to make something happen so you have something different to tell me next time.
Great. So you can even give them like an objective.
Sometimes.
Perfect. Thank you, Cameron.
My name's Andy, blue hair like bars.
Hi, Andy.
I would ask, how many toddlers do you think that you could take?
Take on like.
Yeah. There's a battle, like 4-year-olds. How many could you last through? Yeah.
Awesome. I love that question. My first answer, I was like, that question engaged me. I was like, oh man, I'll take all of them, turn them into an army, and then we can like take over the world. Yeah. Thanks, Andy. All right, let's go low to high again.
Cordelia, and if you could bend any element, what would it be?
Classic.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Cordelia.
I'm Hedge. Brandee, what song sums up your day?
A song? I've been singing this song all day because we heard it in the car, and it just flew out of my brain. Whoa. What's the song I was singing at breakfast? Y'all, I was like stomping around singing stuff.
Anyone got one?
It was, wow, that's so funny because until you asked that question, I've had the same song in my head.
I broke the game!
Thanks, you broke it. Thanks, Hedge. Thanks, Hedge. I'll come up with it probably at a random point in this presentation. Yep.
Hi, I'm Tyler. I usually ask my students what's one thing you learned today.
One thing you
Most of
learned
my classes are in the afternoon, so it's a good check.
Great, awesome. Thanks, Tyler.
I'm Jax. I ask my students what Hogwarts house they're in.
Yes, more sorting, more team building.
Get a lot of information.
So much information. Yeah, and engagement. And of course, that can also be alienating to those who don't known Harry Potter. So you have to be careful of questions that are too easy to not know. Yeah, especially like pop culture references and those types of things. Not everyone actually knows this yet.
Everyone knows that.
Not everyone actually knows it yet.
Everyone knows that.
I'm sorry, wait just a moment. Say your name one more time.
Jax.
Jax. Thank you, Jax.
My name is Benjamin. Good question. If you can only keep 3 limbs, which ones would you keep?
Nice. Thanks, Benjamin. That's a hard one. Does this count as a limb? No, kidding. All right.
I'm Jesse, and I usually like to ask what other sports do they do or do they like to do?
Cool. Solid one. Because that also gives you, what kind of information will that give you? We have, of course, excitement and interest, but what else?
Their movement background.
The movement background. Yeah, what skills might they be practicing already? Maybe what kind of conditioning they're going through. Also, what kind of structured environments they're in. Okay, because you can provide something different than what they're used to, or you can provide something that's similar to what they're used to, depending on what your intent is. Thank you, Jesse.
I'm Madison, and I coach like little baby kids. And I normally ask them like why they're here and what brought them to. I coach volleyball. I don't coach soccer, but
Cool.
ask them about that.
Awesome. Thanks, Madison.
I am Kyle. I ask them what their name is, and then I like at the end of class asking them what was missing from class, see if there was anything that they would like to see in the next class.
Great. Get in the voice. Good. And how often, when you get an answer for that, do you apply it directly?
All the time, to the point where now kids don't say anything that's missing.
Nice, Kyle. Thank you.
I'm Christopher. Something that I like to do is I'll explain what we're about to do, and then I'll say points of issue, points of debate. Does anybody have a haiku about what we're about to do? And usually everyone will stare around, and then 1 or 2 people will come up with a haiku about what we're about to do. That makes everybody laugh.
Great.
So that's always fun.
Yeah. Laughter you can't go wrong starting people laughing. There's no possible way. It's like a pre-warm-up warm-up. Yeah. There's a whole contraction. Thank you, Chris. What's your name?
Sheep, and question, what do you want out of class?
What do you want? Perfect. Thanks, Sheep.
My name is Isabel, and I often ask students at the end of class to name one thing that they either enjoyed or found challenging.
Okay. At the end of class, though.
Yeah. So you're looking for a painful class.
I was just curious. I mean, it's a question of the day. I will put question of the day at the start and then also do the ending thing, just because we're talking about intention setting and gathering information, especially if you're teaching a lot of first-time people or you're at a workshop where you don't know anybody. I teach a lot of events where I'm like, hello, 50 people who I don't quite know. Like, what am I going to do with you, and how do I get the most information possible to do the best I can? Thank you, Isabel.
Rebecca, 2 people already said questions that I like to use in classes, but another one that like I never hear anyone ask is a question along the lines is, where are you from, or how long did it take you to get here today? Because that can give you some idea of like how long someone is traveling to get to your class and what kind of like either level of commitment they have, or just like where they might identify from geographically in your city or something like that.
Yeah.
And also you can bond with them. Like, I used to live over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just like super simple stuff. I like that stuff.
Yeah, totally. Thank you, Rebecca.
My name is Nico, and I like to ask my students what kind of movement they feel like doing today.
Yeah, cool. And again, with the question like, how often do you just directly act on that, right? Versus your plan or whatever you came in with.
So I usually leave my plan open enough that I can interpret sort of what my students kind of want to see from class and try to build off of that so it meets the needs of what they feel like in the moment, as opposed to just having this like super strict set plan to try to adapt to the needs of the group.
Yes, we'll go into that more. That's good. Very good.
I'm Dustin. If it was adults, I'd probably ask what their favorite place to play or train is. If it was kids, I might try to engage imagination and ask if you could build a theme park, what kind of theme park would you build?
Cool. I'm already thinking all kinds of crazy stuff. I'm like, oh man, there are knives everywhere. Thanks, Dustin. Now you know so much about them.
I'm Melissa.
I like to ask about like a favorite vacation spot, or like the last place you've been, or your favorite place that you visited.
Cool.
I'm Angel. I usually sub in my classes, and most of my questions have already been asked. So at the end of it, I want to be a fun sub. So I'd be like, hey, there's 3 game options. Which one do you want to play at the end of class? And then during class, I use that as a motivation for encouraging them to be able to play the game at the end and keep them going during the class.
That's like the stepwise of questions to ask. You should apply it so many different ways. Thanks, Angel.
I'm Jonathan. What I normally ask is, where in your body do you hurt today? Do you have a joint that's bothering you? Do you have sore muscles? And I use that as a way to teach a little bit of anatomy as well, to tell them the names of what they're actually talking about and why it might hurt.
Education opportunity, ASAP. Thank you, Jonathan. Now, what did you all notice during the questions? I went around everyone, we all got things. What did you notice?
You were learning our names.
I was learning your names. And how do you know I was learning your names?
Because you used them.
And you said them after they went through their response.
Every time. So within the first couple seconds of meeting you, which most of you, I already knew the names, I then used your name, and then I thanked you for your participation. Okay? Now, how did you feel when I did that? I was like, thank you, Patrick. Felt good. Yeah, you felt like you contributed, right? You felt like you're part of what we're doing. And you were, because I made it so you were. Yeah? Acknowledgement. Simple acknowledgement. Okay? Because I'm noticing you, and then I want to let you know that that's the case. The most low-hanging fruit you have to have people buy into listening to you, I will split you guys up. I will do it. Okay. You know you guys are those kids. Man, I know you guys. I'm not like. I know you are. I know you are. I'll give you something to fiddle with if you need. Most low-hanging fruit you can do is just using people's names, being very conscious of it, and thanking them and acknowledging them. Did you notice where I had a blip and I was like, oh, I don't remember her name. She just said it. What did I do? I asked it again. How many of you have had a time in your life when you really forgot someone's name? Instead of asking them, you're like, dude, what's my name again?
Oh no, I send them over to introduce themselves. Like, hey, can you go and introduce yourself to them? Oh, have you met them yet? Oh, cool. Come on over, meet my friend. My favorite thing.
So that's the thing is, no, you guys have to ask people directly. Yeah, you can't be getting names secondhand. Okay, maybe there might be some circumstances where say this, I've forgotten that I for safety need to scream someone's name, like what is that? You know, that maybe. But in general, you have to have the confidence, the ability to say, I'm sorry. Not even I'm sorry. Really, please remind me what your name is. Also, I like to be very clear with my language. I'm a big fan of when someone says, what was your name again? I'll be like, my name is still Brandee. Because not what was your name. That is my name still. So, what is your name? Remind me your name, okay? Mindfulness, basic mindfulness. Let's talk about meditation. So we're talking about who would say they meditate regularly? Great. Now I'm going to define meditation as pretty much anything that calms your mind. So this does not mean sitting quietly, oming necessarily. It can mean that. It can also mean
washing the dishes.
Washing the dishes. Yeah, sweeping the floors. What other things? Call some things out. Sex, sure.
Washing the car.
Washing the car, and we're washing it. Cleaning can be for me, cleaning is quite meditative.
Would parkour?
Parkour, absolutely. It's the movement of your body, okay? So we know that meditation itself is many, many things. So you have to know for you what that means. Over the summer, I had a camp I did talk with Evan actually. We had 6 hours a day with these kids. It was ninja camp. I wanted to teach them rope tying skills and concealment and all this the stuff that I love to do that I just want to keep doing forever. And every day started with meditation. The first day, I said, okay guys, we're starting every day with meditation. Today's 5 minutes. I want you to close your eyes or keep them open. But right now we're just going to sit, no talking, and that's it. You can pick up the grass, you can do whatever, 5 minutes. So we did the 5 minutes. And I said, all right everybody, how many buses passed while we sat there? What? I said, 2 buses. 2 buses passed. How many different types of birds did you hear? It was 7, I think? 4, I think. You think? Did you really hear 4 or 7? And it's not trying to make them wrong or anything. It's calling out this idea that, first of all, were you noticing anything? And secondly, not pretending like you were noticing anything, yeah? You know, and then just going for not my specific questions, and then going, what did you notice? Well, there was a ferry boat that just left. Yeah. What? So that's bringing it in. And this is the thing that you need to be doing with yourself this whole time, is doing that same drill in your mind. That brings you to mindfulness, that brings you to awareness, and that's how you start noticing things. And with these kids, as the week wore on, and I told them right away, I was like, okay, tomorrow, it's 10 minutes of meditation. Next day, 15 minutes of meditation. And then 20, and how many minutes do you think is on the last day? 5? Yeah, and guess what? By the last day, they were excited. They're like, can I do my meditation in my fort? I was like, yeah, of course. Can I do my meditation doing my knot time? Yeah, of course, go for it.
How old are these people?
These were, this was a group of 9 to 13-year-olds. I only had one 13-year-old, most of them were around 10. And they were excited. They were like ready and willing and wanting to get to the sneak and get to their places to work on their, like, can I build my fort for meditation? Yes, of course. Okay? So we need to make sure we're doing that and we're thinking about it and we're also instilling those things in our people. It can be very simple as just close your eyes for 2 minutes, open them, and you give them a test. Like, how many steps did I take around you? And no one's going to know because they weren't paying attention. But then next time, you're going to be more savvy. One thing about this more is the stress thing. So when I use the word rival, I actually mean that like a rival can do many things for you. Yeah, rival is like, yeah, you're my rival, but what else does that do? It helps build you up. Like if I'm your rival, then I want to get better than you, and you get better than me, and I get better than you. It's like, you know, Goku and Vegeta just like build off each other. Mostly Vegeta builds off Goku because Goku doesn't mean nothing. I mean, you could be a Goku. So that's what I'm meaning here, is we need stress. It's important. You have to be able to stress the body. Okay? If you go too far, though, that's when you start to lose your ability to notice things. And I'm actually talking like this. This is like extreme cases, like combat scenarios, and like full trauma. Like your ears, you will stop hearing certain sounds. Or tunnel vision. Has anyone ever experienced real tunnel vision? Yeah? Like, yeah, that's a mechanism of your body with an extremely stressful situation. That is meant to help you survive. We don't want to be in that survival state as much as we can. So we meditate to keep ourselves safe. All right, next thing is collecting observations. I already kind of pretty much started jumping into that. To build intuition, you have to have access to information, because intuition is just quickly pulling out the information that you have and taking out these other pieces and putting it together and presenting whatever action you're making. So the more you can do, the better. Can someone please read the words that I so carefully wrote?
Applying intuition is like using any skill. Effectiveness is directly tied to what resources you have to draw on and how those resources are used. The more robust your pool of information, the greater the potential to create understanding of previous and new observations. That seemingly magical sensation of just knowing something is actually assessing, and acting on it.
A's! Doesn't it sound fun?
More quickly than can be consciously noticed.
Okay. I think we're all on the same page. We understand what we're getting at here, right? The more you know about, the more you'll be able to use. It's the same thing in our movement, right? If we have all of these skills, I know I can do gongball, lache, tic-tac, this and that, then I have more options for when I really need to just adapt to something. That's what we're doing, it's the whole thing. So we're doing the same thing with our observations of people. So I know, like, that if I see someone doing this, they're sleeping. It seems obvious, but that counts as information. That's information. Okay, the thing we did with Steve, right? The wedding ring, that's information. You know, he has a partnership of some kind, or wants us to think that. Okay, yes, Patrick.
The question today could be like a way to use to reflecting observation, right?
Yes. Well, right now, yes. Oh, did I skip hook? Oh, no, I didn't. I changed what I said when I first was collecting information, and then I was editing, and I changed. Great, we're good. Yes, you're collecting observations. That's exactly what we're doing in that moment. Especially for me, I actually like to do a circle. So we're all on the same level, I can see everyone's eyes, and it gives me the full meal deal. I can see who's like with each other. All right, any other questions about this idea of collecting observation and why we're doing it? Yes, no? Moving on. All right, so information is no good unless you have also experience. Intuition is swiftly developed knowledge. So somebody, I love this reading out loud just because it's fun for me and everyone gets to participate. Somebody.
Go ahead.
Go for it.
It's hard for me to see with the plane, so you.
Gotcha, I got it now. Experience is the decisive element for taking any ability to the next level. It is the experiment to the hypothesis, the main event to the planning and preparation. Information alone only takes us as far as what. Without why and how, there's nothing new, unique, or actionable. We must experience, aka experiment, to create a catalog of if-thens, developing the crucial ability to process information into real-world meaning.
Yay, thank you, Melissa. Okay, so here's the thing with experience. How can you, what counts as an experience? Or
Getting arrested.
Karen, right? Great. Yes, that would count as an experience.
Anything that affects like your sensations, like sight or sound, like if your sensations are activated, then it counts as an experience.
I love that definition. That is really powerful for me because a lot of people think to have experience or to be experienced, I need to have been there and done it, and that's not necessarily true. A little bit we're going to talk about the mirror neurons, and you can experience through sensation. So watching a video, that counts as experience, especially if you have an intent for doing it, right? So if I'm watching, so this is again more things you can know about me. I watch a lot of police videos, like body cam videos. So I can see like events that are happening. And am I feeling sensations? Well, sure. I'm gaining experience by seeing that. I'm getting information and experience. Now, is it physical experience? No, not necessarily, but it will help me, or it would help me if I did come into various circumstances, because now I have a larger bucket of things that I've noticed, and that I've thought about, and that I've noticed that I've noticed, and things that I've attached to that. Does that kind of follow? Good. Okay, and let me know if anything is just kind of like too floofy in the air, because this is the first time I've done this presentation, and again, like this is a very challenging thing, is to take what is that thing. In fact, Travis asked me this morning. He's like, Brandee, how do you do that? Like, do what? He's like, you just engage all the people, and everyone's like laughing and this. And I was like, great question. Like, how do I do it? So this is I think is how we're doing it. All right, let's move forward.
Question.
Yes.
Would that be like, earlier I was thinking like, if someone looks tired, you can see it on their face. You may make a guess, but not your hypothesis, but may not know for certain if that's how that person looks when they're tired. Would that be, you would observe further to see whether
You would observe further, or you would try to collect information. You can ask them. How much sleep did you get last night? Or are you feeling pretty good today? Or I have a kid who constantly comes in under-rested and like not eating enough food. And I can see just as soon as he having like, well, Finn didn't eat enough today. But I only learned that after I asked him a couple times, like, hey, what's going on? Like, you seem kind of sluggish and this. He's like, yeah, I'm just tired. I sleep today. So yeah, you can, yeah.
Does that fit under what you mean? Like, because we can make it like guesses about what you're seeing and
Yeah.
what it means. But
Yeah.
sometimes guesses are wrong.
Sometimes guesses are wrong, yes. So continuing to investigate, that would count as experience. Or having that person again and again and learning. Yes.
Can I just comment on that?
Absolutely.
I think a really important thing with all intuition is to always remain skeptical. Because one of the things that you constantly experience when working with adults is that they'll straight up lie to you. And so you're taking all these different pieces of information and you're making your best guess. But your best guess is right and wrong is a bit weird anyway with this stuff.
Yeah.
Go with what you have.
Yeah.
With this one, you rely on intuition, what you have access to.
Where you have access to.
Then it comes back to.
Right. So if you don't have access to it yet, you just keep trying to collect more of it until you have more of it.
You develop better intuition.
Exactly. Exactly. So
your first guess.
yeah, your first guess, and then you're like, well, is this a good guess? Or like, what does it look like when this person's tired? What does it look like when they're tired? Because everyone's tired differently. And then the more you know what it's like to be tired, the more Seriously, like I was like, in fact, you actually this, if I can use you as an example, like, was a really hard student for me to read because you're very neutral in classes. You're very until you like bomb.com, flow showing, very neutral.
My Zen state.
Zen state, exactly. And so it took me a long time to figure out. I'm serious. It took me a long time to be like, is Rebecca having fun? You know, sometimes with adults, especially, I will literally just ask them like, is anyone having fun here? You know, because adults will just like do what you're telling them to do, and they'll just like go through the motions. And I'm like, yeah, I'm having fun, because they're just not like boisterously fun-loving like kids are anymore. A lot of adults. So that was an example. Is I had to keep having you in class and keep like checking in and listening to the way you're interacting with other people and not just me directly. That's a big one. Because as an instructor, you have to be also listening to how people are contacting each other, because that's also where you're going to find the bad things like bullying and harassment and discriminations and things. If you're not listening to the kids and people talk to each other, you're not going to have that. Andy?
I don't know how. So I have a really powerful personality. Yes. Whenever I'm talking to kids or people I'm around them, they are who they are in front of me. Mm-hmm. And it's really, what you just described is extremely hard for me to catch. Like, I can't see them how they are not in front of me. You know, like I don't know how to catch them engaging each other without my personality starting to interact and overlap.
Create situations where you have to engage with each other. Team games, partner drills.
Okay, and then just stand like on the side of the room and hope they live during those things. Well, I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just
No.
No,
I mean, how often with games do you just stand back and observe? And not like play with
I
them?
don't do the games as much. But I do the classes more. So I stand back and observe the classes and watch the line while they're interacting. But as soon as I get near them, it seems like they just kind of change, because I'm more militant in the way that I'm like very.
Yeah.
So my presence, period, just kind of changes everyone's interactions.
Yes, absolutely. I want to hold on to that a little bit and think about it.
Okay, sorry.
Because there's some specifics there, and but you're absolutely true. Same thing for me. My presence changes how people are interacting, and I use that to create the interactions I want them to be doing. So if there's certain interactions that you want to be seeing from them, that means there's some things you might have to be changing about what you're doing and how you're presenting.
I only brought this up because you said something about observing something as though they're bullying each other. And I don't know how to intuitively tell if this kid is a bad kid when he's not in front of me. Mm-hmm. You know? So
yeah,
I'm
there's
sorry,
things. No, we'll go. There's like really specifics. I want to get through the general stuff first, but there's so much we can do with that. Absolutely. Anything else for the general idea of collecting like observations, experience? Great. Moving on. Oh, by the way, this guy said that too. He knows. Yeah, like that finger pointing photo. I had to find a good one. He has the best hairdo he ever had. Information is not knowledge, only such not experience. So we're talking about culminating these pieces. All right, so recognizing mechanisms and moments of intuition. So this is what you're talking about. It's like, how do I know if this kid's a bully or not? You have to start knowing what people do when they're bullying. So what's the difference between this posture and the
From confidence to anger.
Okay, how do you know I'm angry or aggressive?
Very close.
What else?
Down. You're leaning forward.
Leaning forward. Okay, whereas this, I'm like open and back. So, like bullying kids, for example, will lean into other kids. If you see someone like who's like constantly getting in someone else's space, even if they're not saying anything, I just would pay attention to it. Pay attention, because they could also just be really sweet people who need more attention. Yeah, or they can be just waiting for that moment when you turn around to jibe this person again. You know, and I like to give everyone like the benefit of the doubt, where you start noticing people's postures. Is this a person who generally stands with their hands closed? Like when I'm speaking, are they like this? Are they like this? Like how is their body? Because if their body is changing while we're having a class or while we're having the discussion, like I'm watching your bodies now, like when should I make a movement break? When everyone starts shifting more and more and more, you know, that's the stuff I'm collecting the whole time. So I already asked you this question: when are you going to make a decision at work without having thought it through, or a small adjustment to avoid future problems getting predicted? Most intuitive decisions are based on unconscious observation and then acting on probable outcomes gathered through your experience. I didn't say before, the if-thens, you're collecting a thing, that is a trap too. Because you don't want to have, well, if this, then this. If someone's leaning forward, then of course they're aggressive. Well, no. Just because a two-footed landing worked over there, it doesn't mean I'm going to use it every single place. I want to have more options. I want to understand, yes, it did work that time, so it might work in a time like this. We're doing the same thing for our intuition. So I recognize, like, think about this already from now. Call up, please, somebody, a time when you're pretty sure you noticed that you had an intuitive response. Maybe it was after the fact, where you were like maybe impressed with yourself, or was like you're like, wow, I can't believe that was that easy, or something. Just think for a moment and try to pull up something from what did work, even though you didn't plan it for it to work. It's gonna be hard. I have a bunch. Cordelia?
When I told Andy that he cares deeply about people. Make him blush.
Oh.
Okay, so tell me more about that. How did you know that was a thing?
We were sitting in the cafeteria area, and we were talking about just like problem solving, what was going on in classes, and it just kind of like was like, he cares a lot about people, and that's why he's having this conversation.
Thank you for sharing. Yeah, she didn't have to like sit with him for hours and hours or watch him all over the place. And how did you know that though? What are the things how did you know? Like, what were the signals you got?
The interest in how to cultivate people as leaders in his community was a conversation.
So he was asking questions.
Yeah.
He was asking questions. He had specific questions. Because you're always like, that's one thing that one of your strengths, you have good specific questions. So he had specific questions. And then, what did you know already to gather that is because for care? Like, what information do you have around what people are like when they care about something that you use to make that decision?
It's just interest is the word that comes to mind.
Okay, so you know that if people are interested in things, they probably care about it.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you. So you see what we did there? I'm gonna try to. It's not a fine science, but you're trying to break down the pieces. Like, what are the signals? What is the information that I got? Well, he's asking a bunch of questions, and he has like a list. And so he clearly thought about this before. And I know that people think about things before and have like a whole, bring this. That means they're interested, they care. Anybody else? Something?
I do this a lot because I'm a fight director and an intimacy choreographer. So I'm constantly, because I deal with violence and intimacy, I'm constantly on the lookout when I choreograph. I have to look for signs if somebody's triggered by something or somebody's uncomfortable with something as I'm giving them the choreography. And very oftentimes, their body language will change, and I'll have to know, okay, we need to change this choreography because they obviously don't feel safe. Because I work with a lot of actors, it's very difficult for them to speak up, to advocate for themselves, because they're afraid that they're going to lose their job.
Right.
So it's like a constant, it's a lot of mental health first aid.
Yeah, I love that. Mental health first aid. Wow, that's a cool phrase. I like that.
I've got a
Never
mental
heard
health
that.
first aid certification. You can do it.
Wow.
You can get mental
You
health
have no
first
idea.
aid
That's news to
certified.
me. That's so cool. I like that, but that's really what it is. That's like with the bullying. It's like you have to be on the. Okay, so here, what's an example? You were doing it. Not everyone could see. And see here, but you're like, I'm watching their body posture. Like this clearly is like, stop. And well, for some, clearly for some. But you have to start learning that and knowing that. And if you don't know that, then you start gaining experiences and figuring it out. Maybe it's very clear and you take a class on mental health first aid. Maybe that's how you learn it. Okay, because it doesn't come easy to everybody. You can do that as well. So yeah, instincts don't come from nowhere. You have to build a habit of knowing and noticing when you are making those things happen for yourself. And a lot of times it's not in the moment, it's like well after the fact. Who in here, after a class or session or anything, goes through your mind and goes through for yourself, like what worked, what would I have changed, why did it work, why didn't it work, every single class of all time? Yeah, not really? Okay, yes. So that's something that I do. Sometimes it just takes a couple seconds because there was an easy plan, maybe it was a very fluid class and it all worked out. But it doesn't matter how good the class was, I'm still going to go after the fact. What worked? What didn't work? What can I change? and where was I expressing the best of my ability to be an instructor this day. Sometimes it backfires too, because you're like, oh, I should have really done this thing, and I did this thing, and like, so don't get caught up in that. You gotta just bench it.
Something that I don't know if you guys know Trevor DeGroot from.
Yeah, Trevor.
Yeah. So like I coach for Trevor quite a bit. Like one of the things that I really like what he does is like every single day for every single session, it's like not just by yourself, it's with all the coaches, and you're just getting feedback from all the coaches what went well for every single.
Yeah,
class.
debrief.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, debriefs are incredibly important in any sort of social anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Oh, that's so good.
So does this have an element of sort of assessing how well your intuition is working?
Yeah.
You're making split-second decisions every moment.
Yeah, you're assessing. So you're like, well, this, and then you can try to start gathering, well, why did I make that decision? Oh, it's because that one time at band camp, stupid joke, I hate that joke. But you know what I mean? It's like, because this happened, then maybe I made this decision, but that wasn't accurate this time. Christopher.
Something else that I think is interesting in this topic as well, under the topic of recognizing mechanisms, is also recognizing like the patterns that you have of that don't serve you in classes. Like say, if someone's not paying attention and then like getting angry and snapping at them out of like emotion, but that's like a mechanism. It's something that like you have as much domain over the emotions you experience and your reactions as you do like your fingernails growing, you know. But what you do have choice over is like how you react. So being able to recognize your own mechanisms within classes as well, and like to act in accordance with what you want to create in the class rather than like what you naturally would just react to, like stimulus response. Mm-hmm. So I think that that's important as well in terms of recognizing mechanisms, is the way in which you occur to other people, you know, and like how to access those mechanisms. I think that's important to do as well.
How you occur to other people. So does anyone notice anything different about me from what you've seen in the last 2 days, right now versus all the whole other time?
I've used the same voice for longer than like a minute and a half.
That's what I know. I didn't.
Your
I didn't.
hair is down.
Bingo.
Down before?
Yes.
I don't think it was down.
No, it was not. That's it. You noticed it. Now what?
Well, I have experience around noticing hair, and specifically your hair, because we've talked about it.
Okay. Now, and so who does not have experience can maybe gather why this is the case. That I spent the other days, had my hair up in my ponytail or whatever.
Just to see if we would notice.
Okay.
In this
That's a good guess.
Yeah.
Anything else, Isabel?
You might want to convey yourself in a certain way, differently in like your mode as leading us in the battle, or versus like, you know, trying to give us a presentation.
Okay, so maybe there's some symbolism. Is it what kind of you're getting at, or what do you?
Yeah.
Self-representation. Self-representation. Angel.
You're not working out in this moment?
Working out. I kind of am working out. Knocking out, maybe. Any other ideas or guesses? Yes.
Probably for the same reason that I was planning on going to put on jeans after this for my presentation, because you wanted to appear in a specific way for this specific event.
Yeah. So you're all pretty much right. I wanted to appear in a specific way specifically for this. Now with the hairs, Julie, friend Julie Angel calls this freedom hair. She loves my freedom hair. Nice. Sometimes I was poofing out the hair. Sometimes I didn't actually enjoy it for a long time. So people, my friends, were like, "Your hair is so fun this way. I love your hair this way." Cordelia was one of those. She was like, "Oh, poofy," and I started noticing like people were having like sensations, emotional reactions to my hair being a different way. And so if I want to get people to listen to me and I want engagement, it's fun, it's moving, it's like poofy. Yeah, it's fun, right? It's fun. And so just by putting my hair out differently, I can control you better. I can get like specific reactions. It's true. It's true. And so what are you doing with your presentation of yourself? I mean, we talked about posture. Posture is easy. Everyone knows like this is not good and this is much better. But what are the other things? The more minute differences. And I'm not saying you have to go in and like slick your hair back or do crazy liberty spikes or anything. I'm saying start noticing what people are noticing and what it's doing with them. Being here works, y'all. We're almost to a pause, so keep sitting there for a second here. Recorded reflection. So we were talking about, how do first you have to notice the mechanisms, notice when it's happening, and why it's happening, and then you have to make records. Someone not me, can read.
All prolific innovators create notes and records from masses of sketches and scribble up journals to voice recordings and video. Beyond the basic goal of creating a trail of information and observations, these journaling habits create a landscape to further observe, offering opportunities for insight and a platform for refining connections that would otherwise not exist.
Who journals in any way? Yeah, journalers. Who takes voice memos for themselves ever? Cool, me too. Who draws pictures? What is this? You don't know if you draw pictures?
I did at one point, and I haven't done it in a while.
Oh, why not?
It was like part of the, so like there's like the mindfulness app that I use, there's like a period where it said to draw at one point throughout there for like 30 seconds, and then once that was done, I kind of like fell out of it, but it was
Okay.
the thing that I did.
Y'all catch that? There was a mindfulness app that suggested drawing. Well, I'll be darned! Turns out everything is the same and it works. Yes, record your reflections. So it can be meditation. This specifically is what I'm meaning is, like we're doing right now, taking notes and then looking at your notes later and taking notes over your notes. I like to keep things like in my room and around, and not notes because I like to move stuff, just because like I have these journals from high school, and I can look back like whoa, or whoa, and you ask me to then see like, well, I was this way, or I was thinking this, or I was that way, and that's what helped me build to this thing. So you have a trail, a paper trail of your coaching, your relationships, your shoot, I take notes for playing a video game. Okay, I was like, oh, my heart rate, I was feeling like really this move, maybe. So I'm noticing my reactions and what was happening, because I love this game, Splatoon. Some of you know that already from last our retreat, because I'm like frantic about it. But in this video game that I play, it's a very fast-paced game, like many like shooter type games. And things are always hectic, things are always different. And when I'm playing it, I get physiological reactions, stress responses. I have to okay, does anyone know tactical or box breathing and why it works? Okay, so I didn't go this with the mindfulness and meditation. Basically, your breath controls your heart. Okay, your breath controls your level. So if you're like, or holding your breath, who has ever cued someone to breathe? Hopefully you're all cueing someone to breathe, because that's the first cue that everyone needs. Are you breathing? Clearly, if you're alive, you're breathing, but there's better breathing. And so one of those that is taught to calm you down is to breathe in for an amount of time. So 4 seconds, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, and then hold, 2, 3, 4. So 4 is a good, decent one. It doesn't have to be 4. This is someone called it shape breathing before, and I kind of like that, because maybe you want your inhale to be much longer. Maybe it's 8. And then you hold for 4, and then you're out for 6. It doesn't matter what it is, because it's bringing you into mindfulness, and it's slowing your system down. It's calming your heart rate. So those guys who are kicking down doors and clearing rooms, this is what they're doing to help keep them out of that place where their tunnel vision and their hearing goes and all these other things, to keep them in the perfect amount of arousal that will allow them to make the best actions. I'm not saying any of us get that stressed out in a class, but it's still good to notice when your heart rate is changing and why it's happening. Even stuff to record like that. So, yeah. Any questions about this? Being your own mirror, you gotta reflect, and recording, not just in the brain. That's good too, and that's happening all the time. But put it somewhere. Make it into reality. Take a video of yourself, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's as long as it's there. Build a rock structure. I'm coming. Okay, today I was like that. Tantra class. God.
That's so tough.
Would the discussion about something afterwards be a type of reflection that is acceptable here?
Discussion would be a type of reflection. We're talking about recording the reflection. Because remember, you want to be able to refer back to it later because it isn't its own experience again. Because if I have it again and I look at it, I can re-experience it or experience something different from it. And just thinking about it is not going to be the same. So you have to make it physical. That's my recommendation. Ben?
Like what I've been doing is something simple, just like with every class that I do, I just have to just make notes, right? How did that class go? And then you can look back at maybe trying to do the same lesson next time.
Yeah.
How did last one go?
Gosh, it could be as simple. If you need to start small, you have the day of the week in your class, and for every class, you put plus or minus. And then suddenly you have like 3 months down the line, you have statistics for yourself. Oh, I have more minuses than pluses. What's going on? Why are those happening? Yeah.
I'm just curious if anyone has any like sort of novel ways that they record their reflections.
Yeah, I'm interested too. I mean, I'm pretty standard fare. I write it down or type it down. I do a lot of them. I do pretty much everything except for drawing pictures. I do a lot of voice recording, actually. Anything novel or interesting or unique you would say?
I mean, it depends on what type of reflection. I don't necessarily do this for coaching, but my background is as an artist, so I do a lot of like sketching, and I keep a sketchbook, which for me is also a journal. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the time, what I like to do, so I don't just like block out pages and pages with just writing, which sometimes I do. Like that's totally acceptable as well for a sketchbook. But sometimes I'll just like draw over top of it and kind of try to take the words that or like the what I'm writing down and put it into a drawing or just like abstraction of how I'm feeling with like color and whatever, or just like layering things over top of each other so that it's not only like my thoughts, but I can convey my feelings.
Psychological evaluations of kids and the different tiers they would fall under, so
great.
It's a necessity for some things.
Great. I think we'll get one from Wes and Corina. Do you have your phone?
Yeah.
Can you go out and call Jake? He was just trying to call me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I really like talking to myself in a webcam, and it could be, it's different. Sometimes I'm talking as if I'm talking to someone else, or sometimes I'm speaking as if I was speaking to myself, and I find it's really interesting to see. It helps to make sure that I'm being congruent with the way I'm judging myself versus the way I'm judging other people. Sometimes I'm I'm being conceited, or sometimes I'm selling myself short.
Yeah.
And having those congruent helps a lot.
Trust yourself. Thank you, Wes. Is it brief?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I want to comment directly on that very artistic approach to recording reflections, because I do almost the exact opposite. In that my first level of notes are really chaotic and make very little sense. And then I kind of bring things together from different sources and end up with something really formal, like an art retreat presentation. And that's how I act.
Yeah. Oh gosh, no. I can sit. Look. This is all this. It's like this scribbled mess like that. It's all over the place. Yeah. Sure. I get it.
Mine has more weird lines.
Okay. Alright, let's go. This is gonna be the last one, and then we'll take a quick break. Getting into trusting yourself to trust yourself. Okay, you gotta practice it. You gotta practice it. So everyone's like, oh, what if I'm wrong? Or what if it's this? Or what if is my intuition good enough? It can only, I know, right? It can only be good enough if you keep testing it. You keep testing it, like, oh my gosh, should I talk about intuition? Is that gonna be too floofy? And do I know enough? Am I qualified for this? No? You guys think that's funny, right? And that's literally what my thoughts were, and still kind of are. All right, y'all know, you've heard of the imposter syndrome, right? You're just like, oh, I don't think I'm qualified. And then all the other signals coming in are saying, yep, you're qualified. People will literally tell you something. Like, Andy, you're wonderful and sweet and perfect and great. Yeah, I know, right?
And you care about people.
Yeah, exactly. It's hard. It's hard to get in the habit of being okay with that. It really is. So you got to practice it. Okay. I'm going to share you a technique, at least for like compliments and things, so you can start like really embodying what people are showing you when you're doing good for us, the humanity. Is thank you. That's very kind. Thank you. That's very kind. Thank you. That's very kind. It's because it's hard. Like, Brandee, you're amazing. Like, how are you such a great coach? You're the best of all the things. Thank you, that's very kind. You practice it. That's another Julie Angel tip she gave me. And it works. And from practicing just that simple thing, even when my first reflex is to cringe, or to like curl up and say, no, I'm just, this, nothing special, nothing new. It works. So this is the same thing with your intuition. Basically, you have to be telling your own self, thank you, that's very kind. Yeah, like you did something that worked in class and you're like, yeah, you're doing good. Oh, thanks, that's very kind. You self-talk. Like, oh, I'm good, I'm getting better. I'm
Love
good.
on yourself.
Love it. Real like. Yes, Jackson.
I do a lot of work with like dialectical thinking, and
What's dialectical thinking?
dialectical thinking is the idea of holding two opposing thoughts at the same time. So like with this exactly, you can know logically, yes, of course, I have this information that I can impart on people and it will be helpful. But then emotionally, you're saying, but who am I to be giving this information? And it's so difficult to accept it. Like it's okay to have both of those feelings, but accept it and decide, yes, no, I can do this. It's really hard to get the logical brain and the emotional brain to talk to each other and just exist together, even though they're completely opposites.
Yeah.
That's where my imposter syndrome comes from.
Yes.
Trying to get those things to sit together.
Yeah, that's one of the first things I approach when I teach coaches. I teach people how to code parkour. I said, look, you have to be the expert. I don't care if you don't think you are. You have to. When you're in front of the people and you're the one leading, you are the expert. You're there doing it. You're already in the position. You might as well just own it. You can't just show up and be like, oh, so I'm really boring and I don't really know if this is going to be a good presentation. Because it's just like my thing. But I guess you guys are here, so I know, like, what was that? That's not what it has to be. It has to be more. Benjamin.
Sort of like you were saying about like the logical versus emotional for yourself. Like the issue that I had is that I can logically think about things really easily, and I can give advice to other people. It's just fine. But when it's about myself, it becomes that much harder because in my brain I'm always doubting myself.
This is something I use for me. I use it for coaches. Is anyone partial to puppies? We like puppies. Generally?
I don't hate them.
Don't hate them. Okay. They poop a lot. So they poop a lot. This is the thing: is a puppy poops and it hasn't been taught where it should poop. Do you kick the puppy? Yes. It's a kitten. It's a kitten. Do you kick the kitten? Absolutely not. Okay. Do you just yell at the puppy? I mean, some people do. That's the wrong way to go about it. That's not intuitive teaching, is it? That's just bullshit. Okay. No, you don't kick the puppy. You teach it where it needs to poop. If you're a good teacher, if you can do intuitive teaching. Okay? You are the puppy. It's you. Yeah. So when you feel like shitting on yourself, you're basically kicking a puppy. Okay? Because you're an animal. We're just that's why I call it teaching humanimals. We keep teaching to these like brain things, these thoughts. We're not teaching to the creatures that we are. I mean, yeah, we're moving the body, or that's what we're going to get into next. The creatures that we are, and how we teach to those to help us become this. But you got to think about that. Like you're essentially just like a wayward creature. So why would you kick yourself or blame yourself for not having been taught or not knowing, or someone else, your students? You know, like this is a problem with coaches that don't get instructed how to do this. Discipline. You sit down. Get out of there. Now, is that scary? A little bit? Yes. Really scary. Now, suppose I said that, and before I did that, I never told that kid what is good and what's not good. I never gave them the instruction. I never gave them any expectations. I just expect them to know. That's ridiculous. How can a puppy possibly know it's supposed to poop outside or ring the bell and go out? You know, how do they know that unless you teach them? And so you can't get like ahead of yourself, and you can't get ahead of the people who don't know. You have to gently train them, just like you have to gently train yourself. Thank you. That's very kind. you know, thank you, Patrick, for your thoughts. Thank you for your thoughts. Thank you. That's very kind. So I think we need to stand up, right? People need to stand up? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do that.
Dance part.
That's really hard.
Okay, move it.
Oh,
yeah, it'll be fine. Corey, Jake,
I'm so
We're having a movie. I know you're thinking. Is that what you're thinking? You're just looking at it and wanting to play your Dragon Ball on it.
Are we doing more here?
I know.
This is not over.
No, it's not over.
Okay.
No, it's not over. Don't go away.
He's getting water.
Josh, there's water right here.
Ooh.
Is there water?
I mean, there's a sink at least. I don't know if it's functioning water. But we're not gonna be standing very long. I have more stuff when I get through, and I don't want to spend a lot of time. So if you're gonna go way over there, you're gonna have time to get back and also get everything. Where are you?
How was it? I wanted to go, but
Okay. Which one? I feel like oh, okay, I was like, it looks like you're just kind of sliding into the group.
I was doing that because if I like, they'll treat you more.
Yeah. What do you eat that?
Nothing. I just felt that overdoing.
Good.
But yeah. Definitely is something.
you can hold yourself up.
Where's my notes?
No, she's trying to figure it out.
Have you ever seen that?
Storming in the bed.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
Are we playing Sky now? Is that what we're doing? Yeah, totally. We have to be all controlled.
That is fun. I think this will be my.
You're gonna grapple and stop? Seems
All right, let's get back together. I know it was not a long break. I do just want to keep moving forward because we did start the session late, and we probably will run over. So I don't want to.
No, seriously. Pull your fingertips back and then extend.
Okay, so return to where you need to be. I'm not offended at all if you keep stretching and moving as long as, you know, that's fine. So if you need to stay on the floor and do your wiggle woos, wiggle woo, please do that. I want you to be comfortable. Okay, why does this all matter? So we talked about that, all this stuff, the bullet points again. That's all about the intuition, and it doesn't have to do with just teaching. That is just all life, like for me, that's the rules of life. Okay, so those things will help build your instincts up. I want to talk about why it matters as far as teaching people parkour, because that's where I'm at in my specialty here. So, first and foremost, when you're actually teaching people skills, okay, you're changing their brains. You are building people's brains, especially children. Literally, right? Literally building brains, like gray matter, more connections, more neural pathways. You are creating brains when you're teaching people. And brains are really good at some things. Brains are really good at noticing things, okay, again, because even if you're not noticing things, you are noticing things. What here is intentional? That was intentional to help you feel a certain way. In this room right now. To help you feel a certain way. What is intentional?
Your hair.
My hair is intentional, yes.
Your tree branches.
Yeah, it's a nice display. They came in and put some sticks inside and it actually looks quite nice, right? Right? Is this better, you think you had a better reaction to this and you're like more comfortable looking at it than if they were not there?
Yes.
Assuredly. Okay, so it is affecting you. And it has been the whole time. And your brain noticed that, but you probably didn't notice that your brain was noticing that. Did anyone come and be like, oh my gosh, I actually feel more tranquil and ready and more professional because there's some twigs and things in here. Did anyone do that? You did? Yeah. I mean, if you did, that's great, because I did. I do. I'm like, oh yeah, they put the twigs, you know. Because that's what I'm used to doing, is noticing and noticing and noticing. What in here is affecting you that's not necessarily intentional, but it is affecting your brain and affecting you.
The lighting.
The lighting! The shitty lighting, right? Who loves fluorescent lighting? Nobody. Because it messes with us. And there's actual science and reasons it messes with us. We're going to go into not so much of that. I mean, I'm going to mention that this is what I mean by I'm saying you're an animal, you're a brain, you're a series of tubes. Okay? That's what I mean. So movement is building that. Just like the movement I'm using when I'm doing this, every time I move my hands, your brain is reacting to that. And it's making a note of things. It's keeping track. Okay? So training and teaching, not about the muscle development, it's about what the brain is doing. So the more you can know about our brains, especially developmental, like child brains, they like to organize. They love to imitate. And that's where all the power is in this whole intuition thing, is the imitation, the mirror neurons, which we'll get to as well. Okay, the reason we have brains is because we move. So it's this beautiful thing. We're actually quite lucky that we're interested in teaching movement, whether it's volleyball or parkour or running or whatever, because the reason we are humans and have this like tools and things is because our brains are made to move our bodies. So we have the benefit of affecting people at their most basic level, which is moving. Okay, even just like this takes incredible neurological pathways just to move my fingers around. I'm not having to think about it either. We're incredible. So how do I take that and I do better in my classes and teach brains more effectively, and also not harm the brain? So what would be a good example of that with this situation here? We already have one that was added, so we put some nature inside, which does affect your brain. What else could we do? What could I have done, perhaps?
To make it positive or negative?
To make it more positive, to make it better for your brain to listen to me and to have the session feel better. Christopher?
You could have essential oils going with like a calming nature, like lavender, vanilla, or something like that to affect your like olfactory.
I could, olfactory. What would be the pitfall of that one in here? Sleep. There's little beds in here, so that's a great one. It might go too far because the brain likes to be killed. I like it. What else?
One of the things that you can develop with these techniques in order to get someone to take a really strong message away is you actually can make yourself quieter. You can control the volume of your voice. So if you spend it nice and clear for the majority of that, and then the takeaway becomes very quiet, people have to train to listen and they learn better.
Yes, yes. If you set it up correctly. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, being quiet. Remember, sharing is caring. Sharing is caring. When you start like that, it starts to be like, oh my gosh, we're feeling something now. Yeah,
It is Carrie.
I know. You missed the session. You weren't here for that, so you don't know the reference. That's okay.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying it was fun.
We have gladiatorial fights.
Okay, so
Cool.
this Go Wild, it's a great book. In fact, it's one of the things I would say recommended reading. Goes into pretty much all of this. It's funny because, like I said, none of this is new. I didn't make any of this up. I'm just trying to collect it in a way that makes sense to me, so hopefully it makes sense to you. So first of all, we have to know that we are building brains when we're teaching people how to move. Also, we need to know that civilization is masochistic. All right, modern lifestyles literally hurt us. The introduction of agriculture catalyzed the ability to lead more solitary lives, while simultaneously diminishing nutritional diversity and exponentially reducing the necessity of movement. If we know anything, that movement builds our brains and keeps them healthy. So if we move less, what happens to our brains?
Less healthy.
And what kind of less healthy would a brain? What happens with that? Depression.
Falls out of
Anxiety.
your ear.
It falls out your ear and your nose. No, depression and anxiety. Yeah, yeah. Those are, they call them the diseases of civilization. Again, nothing that is new to us. The addition of productivity culture leaves us tribeless, sleep deprived. Okay, no connection, not enough sleep, not enough rest, not good enough food. All right, we're screwing ourselves over. Okay, if you look into it even just a little bit, if you know, like untouched hunter-gatherer societies don't have the problems of social diseases. They don't have heart disease, obesity, depression. It doesn't exist because they're in an environment for our animal to stay healthy. Our animal likes things. It likes human touch. I know they don't Smash Bros, Chris. Okay, it likes human touch. It likes natural lighting. It likes natural lighting at particular hours of the day. Raise your hand if you stay up deep into the night scrolling. Scrolling on the flops on your face, you're like, fuck, I'm stupid. Right? That's not normal. It is normal. It's not natural. But is it natural because we're doing it? Oh! The existential crisis. Okay? That's a modern lifestyle. The human animal hasn't changed, hasn't evolved differently for a while, okay, since we became humanoids. We're not evolving, like, the same mechanisms that are ingrained in us, like sleep cycles and, you know, sensitivity to the light or not to the light. That is the same from before electric lighting. So every time you expose yourself to this blue light deep into the night, no wonder you can't sleep. No wonder people are depressed and anxious, because they're not getting diverse food and nutrition, and they're not sleeping because lights are fucking us up, okay? And now that's a gross simplification, but do you kind of get where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Thank you for that. Okay, so we have to be aware of that. Yes?
Justin and I did a really quick example where we ran around, we put electrical tape over all the lights in the bedroom, the fire alarm light, the blinky light of your charger and stuff, and overnight it was quiet. It was amazing, just turning off the little tiny LEDs that were all over our bedroom.
And buzzing.
And they didn't even know we're there.
For your skin too, this is why. Like your skin absorbs light in the sleep. So if there's any fluorescent or like electronic light coming from anywhere, your skin can absorb it even if you like wear a mask.
Yeah. So what do you think's happening when you have kids? You have a class full of kids in parkour, and they just spent 6 hours under fluorescent lighting, and they ate a crappy school lunch. We're battling uphill with this. And if you know that, then you have better strategies to battle. Okay. Tribes created through culture. So I said about tribe. Oh wait, there's some other things I forgot the points I wanted to make sure this. No, that was it. It's like deprived, malnourished, touch deprived, tribeless people. Okay, we're getting like wayward humans left and right. Alright, sports ball. Why do sports draw the masses and even occasionally incite riots? Right? Why is boot camp so effective in creating cohesiveness and genuine unity? Okay, it's because, first of all, we crave connection and validation. We are tribal people. Why do we have like teams of all kinds, fandoms? This art retreat is our tribe. We're here together to create connection and feel better. Yeah. So that's what we want, and that's what we need to start creating in the classes. That's what will get people to listen to you. If they're feeling like they are connected and they're feeling like they're validated, like a part of something. Okay? Symbols and rituals rule us because we are desperate to be part of something greater than ourselves, and we need our existence to mean something. That's why we do the symbols especially. All right? What does this mean to kids these days? Anybody? Or this one? I can't do all of the answers. Huh? Fortnite. So, if I know the symbol / ritual of orange justice.
Yeah, get it.
Yeah, and I'm in the class, and I do that with the kids who play Fortnite until the wee hours in the morning. Even if they're sleep deprived and haven't had enough food, I'm part of their tribe now. They're part of mine. Like, I have them. We're together. We have that. And you can create those for yourselves. That's why I'm saying things like question of the day. That is a ritual. You start to create rituals, and then people start to expect what's happening, and then they start to think ahead. Like, I wonder what the question of the day is going to be. The kids themselves remind me, because a lot of times there's the name, what are we doing, what's your name, question of the day, and then you do a tuck jump. How you can, and quietly as possible. Just all around the circle. Tuck jump. So everyone does a tuck jump. And for some reason, I forget that all the time. Maybe because I'm just like tired or ready to do whatever. But the kids themselves, like one kid actually, Thane, he'll always do a tuck jump. I'm like, oh yeah, we're tuck jump after this. Because he learned it like at some point, and it's just his ritual, so he keeps doing it. All right, so that's what you're doing too. It's like you're creating a culture through your symbols and through your ritual. The symbol of freedom here, if we're fun and exciting and ready to go, you know. The symbol of who knows? Maybe you put on your special big baggy pants, and you're like trick master McFlip for the kids. You know, there's things that you're doing already that they're noticing. They're not noticing they're noticing it. Their brains are noticing it. And how can you manipulate that? And yes, I mean manipulate. Everyone takes that to be negative. No, manipulation is a thing. So we have to do to write our notes down, or to flip our hairs and stuff. So we create a connection. We have to recognize that and recognize why people are taking classes in the first place and what they're doing. Why are you at our retreat? For this. All right, moving on. It's pretty simple. Oh. Just kidding. Mirror neuroplasticity. We are built for automatic empathy. Monkey see, monkey do is an unstoppable force that constantly influences us. Mirror neurons play a crucial role in our lives, giving us the ability to understand and identify with others' postures, actions, observation, and imitation, transmitting emotions, even predicting each other's intentions. The activity with noticing Steve, may he rest in power. That was us using our mirror neurons. You looked at him, with his face features, and you're like, he seems devious, or he's this way. And where'd you get that information? Probably from your own face and feelings and expressions, how you use your thing, or what you've seen. Okay?
Usually how you feel about yourself.
How you feel about yourself. Oh God! Did anyone else jump when that happened? Feel anything?
I just thought you saw the body.
Curiosity, surprise.
You have a habit of being unpredictable. I like she did that on.
Yeah, I know. She's got me on lock. She knows the freedom hands and everything. Yeah, that's an example. It's like if you had any sort of reaction where it was like similar to mine, that was a mirror neuron response. It is. Like, what is the thing? You know, like if you smile, you feel happier. If you frown, you feel less happy. All of that. So, if at some point in your classes, or you're letting your coaches do this, I hate this. I mean, I like it right now. I'm saying, but for coaches and classes, no. No, you don't let people sit down because because then the people are seeing it, and the kids, whether they know it or not, are going to be doing it too. I watched a little. Do you have a thing? Yeah, let's hear it.
How would you call that coach out? If you were like a head coach and they're a new coach.
Yeah, I'd go over and.
You say it in the moment.
Yep. I'm not going to call them out in front of a group of kids.
Yeah. So
I'll watch it. So here, you're my coach.
Yeah.
You're chilling.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, they learn it in apprenticeship, so I'm treating them beforehand. They know this.
Yeah.
How you just stand up. That's the idea. Okay. You stand up, please. Yeah. All right. You can go in the back. I'll take the class. That's fine. Like, you just stand up or not. Are you gonna stand up? Everybody stand up.
Follow through.
And we only have like 20 more minutes, and he won't stand up.
You did, fella.
You really wanted to.
Yeah, I want you to. Okay. And that's the thing, is like I know it was a simulation, but also if I'm not willing to even go that far in a simulation, can I handle it when a coach is really just like, I'm tired. Same thing with asking people's names. You have to be able to do that and speak to people and say, we don't sit in our classes when we're coaching. You don't lean on stuff. You don't, I mean, this is another one too, like a lot of people are like, don't cross your arms when you're coaching. I mean, I would say this is comfort, so there's some things, if it doesn't seem aggressive, this is not the worst for me. This, talking or like vaping outside, no. Yeah, coaches vaping all the time around kids. Sure, like fine, do what you want to do, like this and this and that. Those mirror neurons are picking that up constantly. In our gym, like years ago, there was a kid in a class, and he had a little sister. She must have been like maybe 3. And it was the weirdest thing. I was just like, did I just see what I just saw? Because he went through and he did like an underbar. And she, like a zombie, she watched and she went forward on her own little bar and she did exactly what he did. Exactly. I've heard kids parrot exactly what a coach has just said. They are listening. And by they, I mean brains. Brains are listening all the time. Brains are always watching. What do you want the brains to see? What do you want the brains to hear? What do you want the mouths that are attached to the brains to say? How do you want them to act? If you want a certain culture and you want something to happen, you have to be that. You gotta. And you gotta call out when it's not that. Yeah, everyone has to be that to be cohesive. So yeah, built for automatic empathy. This is also where some people get into trouble because there are certain things, like let's talk about like psychopaths. What creates that? The lack of empathy, the lack of the mirror neurons functioning in that way. At least that's the theory. It makes sense to me. If you can't read people's faces, you don't have something to empathize with, then it's going to be really hard to connect with people on that level.
When a psychopath can read the face.
Yeah, you can read. Yeah, you can learn it. That's the thing. Is you can learn it, and then you can manipulate too. So even if you feel like maybe, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing necessarily to be a psychopath either. It's just part of how some brains are. Seriously, it's the lack of empathy. That doesn't inherently make someone bad or evil or a killer. It just means they have to learn differently and treat their communication styles differently, right? Hopefully, they just are like benevolent CEOs who can figure things out.
Psychopath just means the lack of empathy.
Yeah, basically you don't have the ability to empathize with other people. So I don't feel what you feel. So if you're like crying, I'm like, oh, that guy's crying. And so you can be that too. It doesn't mean if you're saying that you're a psychopath. I am not a scientist or an academic, so I would say just look it up. Okay, let's hear it from you.
Clinical psychopathy. There's obviously more than just that, but if you were
Yes.
saying clinical psychopathy, they'd be talking about a lack of empathy.
Yeah, clinical psychopathy. Thank you. Yeah, lack of empathy. Which is that's what this is. It's like your mirror neurons aren't mirroring. So I'm going one way.
Yeah.
It's going one way mirror. Your thing against it. Get back there. Okay, almost done. Okay, how do I practice? You're like, all this stuff. Like, so what do I actually do to get better at it? How do I work? I mean, I've told you a lot already. Ask people questions. Notice their faces. Put yourself in a position that you want them to be used to and be able to do. Also, ask this question. One of the first things you can do.
Is that calm?
No, it's.
That's Adam. I know, I have like Steve Jobs and Albert Einstein. Adam. I love it. What is the best possible thing I can do for myself and my students? Okay, so this answer, there actually is one answer. There's one correct answer that I want you to think about. And there's more after that, but I'm saying the best. The first thing you have to start with. The best first thing. Think about it. Or tell me.
Make yourself stronger.
Nope. I mean, y'all are going to say a lot of good stuff, and I will keep saying nope. Not because it's not a good thing. It's not the best thing that you need to do. Christopher.
Just interact with them. Like acknowledge that they're even there.
Yeah, those are all good things. It's not the best thing.
Listen.
Listening is also a beautiful thing, not the best thing. Cameron?
Love yourself.
Love yourself. Good thing, not the best thing. And part of this thing that goes into this thing, I'm talking a very specific, very, very clear thing. Backflips. Done. We're done. The best thing you can do for anybody in the world is backflips. Yeah.
I knew it.
It's I know this is a challenge. I just want to keep thinking for a little bit longer.
Be present.
Be present. This one thing will help that thing.
Meditate.
This thing will also help that thing.
Feel it.
This thing will help that thing, absolutely. Yeah.
Care.
Sleep.
Woo! She got it.
Yeah.
Yes! I'm so glad someone got it. Yes! You have to be well rested. Who has ever heard anybody bragging? I only need 5 hours of sleep a night.
College all the time.
College. Yeah, first thing is college. I only need 5 hours. I only need 3 hours. I can run myself dry.
I didn't even sleep.
I didn't even sleep. Y'all, if we're talking about brains and things connected to brains, okay, first of all, we don't know why we sleep, but we know we need it to live. If you don't sleep, you literally die. You die from no sleep before you die from no food. Okay? Do we get that?
Yeah.
And yet, we're not allowing our brains to sleep. Did you know that in the time you're sleeping, there's so many things happening. First of all, you're resting your nervous system, in a sense. And your brain is coagulating all the information, observations, all the experiences, and it's doing things. How does that come out sometimes? How do we know that our brain is doing stuff?
Like when you have a tough decision, sleep on it.
Sleep on it. Dream. Okay? Yeah, sleeping on it, there's a reason that's a thing, a phrase. Okay? Most phrases say monkey see, monkey do. Sleep on it. It's because we've observed it being a thing. You have to be well rested. You have to make yourself sleep. It's the first thing. It has to be. It's a hard thing. I'm not perfect at it either. This weekend, like, oh my gosh, when weekends like this, I just assume I'm not going to be sleeping. Because there's so much excitement and so many things to go on. And still, it's the best possible thing any of us could be doing for anybody, not just our students, but for anything, the whole world. If everyone slept more, oh gosh. It heals your brain to sleep. Also, dreams are simulations. Your brain is trying on things when you're sleeping. And you ever think of that? What are you thinking? I see your face thinking. I don't know what you're thinking. Share.
It's a little rude. But you're simulating, and then I kind of laugh at the concept of like the male brain always just having sex dreams.
Sure.
Simulating. And it was,
I wouldn't say that's
it was
rude.
funny for me.
Yeah, it's funny, and it's also true. Sure. Because what are we built for? Lots of things. That's what
I simulate my teeth falling out a lot.
Yeah. I've had that like
Yeah.
stress dreams. Stress dreams and
really
things.
Prepared for that.
I know. I'm not saying dreams are making sense all the time. I've had that one. I've had my feet are wearing through, and I see my bones. I've been killed like so many times in different ways. Shot. One time I dreamt that I was forced to slide down this chute, like an industrial chute, and there was like a stainless steel fan. And the dream ended as I got chopped up my body, and I woke up when I got to my head. Yeah, so I'm not saying like, okay, dreams are like perfectly, makes sense, you wake up, you're like, I know which college I'm gonna choose. No, but also your brain needs to do that, and there's probably reasons for it to do that. And again, whether you like it or not, that gets to count as experience, because you're having sensations. That's what I mean by simulations. I'm not saying they're like useful all the time. I'm saying they're simulations. You need sleep. So if we get anything out of this conversation at all, sleep. All right, we're almost here. We're gonna do some things about like more clear action items. So this is Gavin Becker's Universal Human Assumptions. It's from this book, The Gift of Fear. I recommend it to everyone. It'll be on the list that I put out when I share this. So this is the Gift of Fear is all about how to build your perceptions and your intuition to help you avoid violence and bad situations. So the whole book is about this and noticing things and learning what people are doing to manipulate you and how you can like keep things better by noticing them. So you might agree with them, might not agree with all of them, but let's go through and look at, first of all, are we noticing it in people in classes? And secondly, how can we directly do something about it with games or drills or techniques? So let's start. We see connection with others. Would you say that in general that's true?
Yeah.
Yep, I would say that's true because we are tribal animals. Okay, so in class, in a parkour class, what is something that we can be doing or you are already doing to get people connecting with each other? Let's go here and then we'll go here.
Something you can do is first of all, assume that each human being desires to connect with others,
yes,
and typically lack the tool set to effectively connect with another person. So being aware of that and having that in mind when you're going through your stations is really important to facilitate connection between students. Just knowing that they probably want to connect but have no idea how.
Yes,
helps
good.
us with
like
that.
Recognizing the ignorance around that. Okay, the puppy doesn't know where to poop. You gotta teach it. Yes, Peyton.
Partner a student you know is good at connecting people with a student you know is not, and have them do stations.
That's a great one. That same summer camp I mentioned. I had a student for the first time in my whole career, and she won't speak to people. She won't speak. She can't speak. She's blindingly brilliant. She will not speak. Her mom's like, hey, this is her. And she just won't talk. She'll be listening, and she's great. And so I took Jadelyn. I'm like, hey, Jadelyn, I need you to like get Julian and this and that. And she's like, okay, great. Because Jadelyn's this wonderful young woman who's just very compassionate. And I did exactly that. And that was day one. By day 5, I'm getting shivers actually. Oh my gosh, I could hear them like having conversations in the bushes. And whenever Evan or I came around, like she would stop talking, but she even like spoke to me a few times. Like, it works. Thank you. Yeah, it was a good one. Ooh. Okay. Did you have one more or no? Yes, one more.
Give a challenge that nobody can complete.
Yeah, by themselves, or all together.
Or just that it's beyond everyone's level, so they all have the same experience.
Yeah. If I could go into more tribe stuff, that's actually a really powerful thing. It's crazy. It seems crazy from afar, but people will have a happier life. Like a lot of people have reported being happier in times of things like war or natural disaster, because it forces people to come together and help each other, and there's a sense of unity and connectedness. One of the other books is called Tribe, on Belonging and Homecoming. We go into a couple of situations from there. You're going to hear this over and over and over. People are like, I know this feels weird, it sounds kind of crazy, but I kind of miss the war. And they don't miss the war, they miss the connection they have with others. We are saddened by loss and try to avoid it. Would we say that's pretty much true?
We're saddened by loss?
Saddened by loss, and we try to avoid it. Generally true. Now, is this something that we can and or should be addressing in classes, you think? At all? Is that worthwhile? Josh, you're nodding your head. What do you think? What are some thoughts on that?
Yeah, we just had a student join recently, and his father passed away like a couple weeks before he joined. And so we see how he acts differently. Like, you see how he can like have his highs and his lows in an individual class. So being aware of it, being able to empathize with that is something that we're like, as coaches, just like, okay, this student is not just any other student.
Yeah.
And just understanding that.
Well, this thing is, that student is any other student, because every student is every other student. Like, that's a really powerful and heavy situation. Let's also expand the definition of loss. Okay? Loss can be, you all have the question asker or the storyteller in your class, the storyteller. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That one who just won't stop telling you about the thing. Just a second, Andy. Okay? You shut the kid down in the way that's not intuitive and for a healthy, happy brain. The brain takes that as loss. That is loss. That is the loss of attention. That is the loss of care. That is the loss of acknowledgement. So yes, the heavy, like, I hope that student is like getting the care they need in your classes. We also have to recognize that for us, like, loss is like, there's a lot of different things that can mean. Andy, what were you gonna say?
All of my classes, I make too hard for anyone to actually accomplish. No one accomplishes any of my classes almost ever. I've had maybe in 2 years someone actually get a line maybe twice, and that's it. So would that fall into the loss category at all?
It could if they're perceiving that they can do it every time and they just always fail.
So loss, it directly here implies having something and then not having it.
It's perceiving having something and then not having it. Perceiving having something, not having it. Yeah.
Perceiving being really important. Like, it doesn't matter if it's factually true, it's how they feel about it.
Yeah, because you know when you need the storyteller to stop telling the story so you can do other things, you know it's not because you hate them and you want them to shut up. You know it's because you don't have time to listen to their story right now. And so you say, hey, can you tell me that during free time? And that way, no loss, you just get to it later. Jackson.
Are loss and rejection similar in here then?
I'm using it in a similar way. Now these are my definitions, this is how I'm interpreting this. But I would say it's very similar, because what is rejection? It's the loss of something you perceived you had or wanted. And so we can say that too. Rejection, loss. Well, I mean, we dislike rejection. So those can, here, right, we dislike rejection. So what can we do in classes to help us not be rejecting people or have them rejecting each other?
Yes, and.
Yes, and. Say more.
That's the guiding principle of improv. Like, no matter what somebody brings, you say yes to it and you continue down that path. You never shut them off. Otherwise, the whole bit just goes to crap and you might as well walk off the stage.
Yes, and. Great. We're over time, we're gonna just kind of phase through this. We like recognition and intention. What did I do already today for that? Some things that we already did.
Eye contact, repeating names.
Eye contact, repeating names, low-hanging fruit, that's what we do. Easy. Okay? I'm just rolling, I have not had enough sleep. Okay. Yes, recognition and intention. So anytime you can say, like, wow, Kyle, you know, the way you speak to kids and the games that, like, enliven them when you're with them, it's inspiring. In fact, I was like, maybe she should tell me she shouldn't even be in this, because, like, maybe give a spot to someone else who doesn't already do all these things. I was really thinking that. In fact, I said to Cordy, I was like, we're looking at, I was watching, like, oh, this person signed up, ooh, this person did. I was like, Kyle, man, he's not even doing all that. He's trying to sit here for it. Yeah, feels good. Feels good, man. Feels good. And you can do that easily with everyone, because there's always something for that, like recognition and attention. We'll do more to avoid pain than we'll do to seek pleasure. How can we do this in the classes or assist with this? First of all, where does pain come from in parkour lessons?
The shins.
Yeah, shins, hands, ankles, skin, where else?
Well, mostly what I see in classes is like kids comparing themselves to other kids, like in speed courses or like, you know, things like that. Or kids are doing like climb ups and other kids can't get up the boxes.
Yes.
So
Again, we're
then
expanding
they won't try at all.
Exactly, we're expanding this. Pain is not just out of my shins. In fact, I don't care as much about that as I care about like, oh, my heart. Like, oh, my confidence. You know, like, oh, my excitement.
Feel like you're gonna look silly or stupid or something like that.
Yeah, so what are some actionable things we can do? What are some clear like drills and or activities?
Try to coach the individual, so give each kid their own specific individual challenge.
Yep, challenge the individual. Yeah, I love that. Peyton.
Every so often, have challenges that you know that they can like easily complete.
Yes, that's the thing I would say too. Is like, my personal coaching style, Andy, would be to not always have things that no one could ever do. I would give some sort of like I did it. I'm sure people are still feeling that. It's just like that's also important. I think it's like 30% of the time people like need to be able to do that.
For example, if a kid can't do something, I try to give them progressions, but don't label it as a progression. They just label it as like something, like a variation or something like that.
Variation. Yeah, being mindful with the words. I agree completely. I do like to call it progressions because again, I want to take away this like idea that progressions are bad or inferior.
Well, I just think that like some kids are just like, oh, I should do the easier version.
Right.
Like
No, my God.
the
Okay.
real one.
Yeah, there's ways to speak around it. Definitely. Like there's no such thing as a real like what girl push-ups. You let me hear a coach say I had a coach do that. He was like our coach Ox. Do it like, all right, time to do push-ups. You can't do it quite like that. You gotta go down and then come up on your knees. Little kid's like, girl push-ups. He calls me over. He says, come do some push-ups. I bust out like those girl push-ups. So yeah, you have to have good language around your progressions. Okay, so I mean, mostly I want us to just keep thinking about this. We don't have to answer it, but I know sometimes we like very clear like action plans because that's what we do. We just like ridicule and embarrassment. What is so like we were saying? It's like no one wants to look stupid or feel like they're looking stupid or be ridiculed. So what is like one of the most common things you can do for that?
Well, you can create a safe space by being silly.
You
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's my secret of all my most things. Yes, Christopher, thank you.
I just insult everyone really loudly, and I try to get everyone that's in line to join in at laughing at the person that did something wrong. And I do it in a way that
Brutal.
Yeah, and it works really well from what I've seen. But I definitely attract a type of person.
I can vouch that he does it in a way that I have like pretty bad social anxiety, and I continue to come to his classes over.
Okay, so tell us about that, because this is the thing, is like on first hearing, they're like, what the fuck, guy? That's the opposite of what you're supposed to be doing. You're like, I mean, my first thing would be like, hey, if you're gonna say bad things, say it in private, say good things in front of everybody. And he's like, no, I'm gonna tell them all the bad shit right in the front, and if it's good, I just whisper it in their ear. But yeah, tell us more.
Well, sometimes it makes me more comfortable that other people are silly and laughing about something that I feel silly about. So it just like gives you that sense of community, and he does it in a way that is like not like laughing at you or laughing with you.
Mm-hmm. So what is that thing? So just give me some signals that you're getting to know that's the case from him. Like what is he embodying and or doing and or tones or postures? Like pick out something that he's presenting where you know it's not really like you suck.
Well, he doesn't do that. People's facial expressions tell you a lot.
Yeah. Okay. It's hard to pick out. When I ask the question, I'm not expecting you to give me a whole list because this is why we're at the session in the first place. Is these are like intangible things until you spend more time tanging them. All right, Isabel. I think we might be cutting into lunch.
Yeah. But what I was gonna say was just what it sounds like to me is that what Andy is doing might help people feel okay with messing up. That
Yeah.
it's normal to mess up.
Yeah, it's creating a culture of you're messed up. Bah! Let's do some more. Yeah, I like that, Jackson.
Like the coach messing up while we're showing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that does help. Yeah, I always call out when I mess up. Like, oh, that wasn't it.
Don't do that.
Let me do that again.
But it lowers the stakes.
Mm.
Because like and I'm in Andy's classes
Yeah.
as well. It is like, oh, you sucked at that.
Yeah, it gets rid of this.
Yeah, because
The
you're not
rejection,
like, oh,
the
I
loss.
sucked. It's, oh, you're right. This isn't, the world isn't over.
Yeah.
It's just jumping on a bar.
Yeah, I'm gonna just one more. Actually that ties into what Carol others think of us. We're creating a culture around that. And then I just want to end with degree of control. Then I have 4 more things you can be doing. Degree of control, that's parkour itself. We want to control our bodies. I like things like letting the kids decide certain things. Like, what game do you want to play? Or, what color do you want to be? These simple decisions, simple things that don't cost you anything to let people choose in your classes. Give them autonomy in the classes. It gives them ownership over what's happening. Because it doesn't matter to me what color the team is. You get to choose that. One of my favorite ones is stick it or suffer. I know a lot of people don't like, and I don't like this either, like using exercise as punishment. First of all, never ever say this is punishment. Because punishment is a very clear definition, whereas penalties are a part of games.
Just call them rewards.
You can call them rewards. I like penalties, and you can call them rewards. But if you say that, the kids will be like, yeah, rewards. I know this is a thing.
Empowerment drill.
So you call it what it is. It's a penalty. It's like, okay, guys, before this game, I need you to decide your own penalties. It has to be something that gets you stronger, better. So for stick or suffer, I give them guidelines. Keep it reasonable. No more than 5 repetitions of whatever it is. And with your partner, if you're not doing this, this is how I play it for them. Stick or suffer is you try only once for a jump. So Peyton and I are doing a jump. I try it. I stick it. Great. No suffer. He tries my same jump. He sticks it. Great. If I miss it, then I suffer whatever my penalty that I chose. So I'll bust out 5 push-ups. And since he's such a good partner, he's gonna suffer with me. So he's gonna also do my penalty, my push-ups. And I'll say to them, like, it's okay though if he's doing push-ups or I can't do it that way, then I do the push-ups that I need to do. Likewise, if he's doing muscle-ups, then I do my hanging thing the way I'm gonna do it. And so they get to choose their penalties. The penalty is not something that a punishment, because first of all, you chose it, and it's part of this game, and then it actually becomes a game. It's not like rewards. I don't have to dress it up as anything other than what it actually is. And it gives them control over their lives. It gives them control over their strength. So that's just one example of how to do that. Last slide, and then lunch. Instinct development training plan. We already talked about this. Notice things on purpose. One of my favorite things to do, it's also my meditation and turn off the other thoughts, is you just start pointing things out. I do this on the bus a lot. You can do it with colors. Red, green, blue, black, that color. Okay, and when I'm doing that, there is no other space in my brain for anything else, especially since I'm pointing, because I know movement is brain. I'm braining everywhere. Okay, and then it could be like other things like light switch, this, and this. So you're doing multiple things at once. You're meditating because you don't have the extra thoughts coming through, and so you're giving your mind a more calm place to come from. And you're noticing things. You're literally practicing noticing things. So that's one of my favorites. It doesn't have to be that. You can just go through a day, or anyone people watching? Love me some people watching. Why do we love to do that?
They're so weird.
Because they're weird. Mirror neurons. We're noticing things. We're gathering information and experiences, observations. So, but choose specifically, because the thing about noticing things on purpose is the on purpose part. Like, I have an intent. I'm going to see how many people I can find, or I'm noticing, who's wearing plaid today. Oh my God, there's so many plaids. Yeah, you're like, whoa, there's a lot. Plaid. Okay. Run simulations. This is giving yourself your own experiences. It can just be mental, like the power of visualization. We all know the power of visualization, yes? How your brain, you run it in your head, and it actually is like training it. Yes, run simulations, and that can be like physically or mentally, and sleep, of course, because your brain will do that on its own. You are what you observe. So if you want to get better at a particular thing, but you want more of a thing, seek it out and observe it. You want to coach more like Brandee? Come watch my classes. Boom. Okay? You want to be more suave and swift? Watch Blake. Okay. I don't know, that's a funny joke to me. You are what you observe, so just keep that in mind. And that means everyone else is what they're observing too. That's what I'm saying with the kids. Like, they see you, you know, like, especially like coach culture. You know, I know and it's different if you have a good design around it, so it's again, intentful on purpose. But if it's not on purpose and coach is like, hey, fuck you, like, because, you know, guys like to do that. They have to be like, that's a friendship thing. But they don't know that. All they're seeing is like, oh, it's totally cool to like push and insult people, right? And so you're having to be really conscious of what is being observed, because you are what you observe. Of course, fake it till you feel it. If I smile, that's not a good smile. You smile at least as close to what you would feel like if you're happy, you feel happier. So honestly, on days where you're just like, oh my God, and this can have like compassion. I care. I care. Like, you know, again, I call it my roommate, my friend Cordelia here. She sees me in all the states. I can go from just like 2 minutes later, my class starts. All right, everybody! Woo! Let's do some Tic Tacs today, right? Fake it till you feel it. By the end of that class too, you'll feel it. It probably won't take that long, because especially all the wonderful people who are showing up just to hear you and to be with you and to get connection with you and with each other, to learn to be better brains. It works. Fake it till you feel it. And that, my friends, is my presentation. Thank you all so much. I hope there's food left for you to eat. Food! Yeah, that's fun. This will be on the app at some point in time and or emailed to you.
It's on the Yap app?
It's not yet.
It's actually
it will. And or emailed to you. Is that helpful?
Oh yeah. I just needed more sleep last night.
You sleep. I know, we all need sleep. Cool.
Thank you.
So you're so welcome.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
Phil and Brandee.
What?
Thanks, Brandee.
You want this too?
Hello. Wait, my shoes are back there. Oh, thank you for that. It was about to get out of me. Everyone don't ever go to his crap.